Good evening, everyone. This is Don Hulling with the Prep Girls Hoops Network, here with one of our team interviews again tonight. Tonight, we're lucky to have the coach and some players from Belleville East. Coach Kemezys, thanks for being here. If you want to take it over real quick and introduce who you have with you tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Don. I'm pretty excited for tonight to put the girls on the hot seat and get to know them and hear a lot about them because they're awesome, and I think they've got some really good perspective on themselves and our team too. So we've got current juniors, Tyler Butler and Grace Riley, and then current freshman Laylah Jackson, and they all are starters for us this year. Tyler averaged a double-double, 12 points and 10 rebounds. Laylah had averaged 11 points. Definitely got that shot, and then Grace averaged 6 points and was our leading point guard a lot and one of our best shooters when she got hot. So I'm excited for everything that they did this past season, but also look forward to work they're putting in this offseason too.
Okay, great. I will go ahead and take it over from there then and start jumping into the questions and talking to the girls. I believe Laylah volunteered to go first. So ladies, we'll start with that first question. Just kind of each of you take a second to introduce yourself, tell everybody your height, your position, what graduating class you're in, tell them about any other sports that you may play, if you play AAU, who you play with, and then any other activities or things that you're involved in, maybe outside of sports or outside of school even. So Laylah, go ahead.
My name is Laylah Jackson. I'm a 5'6" point guard from class of 2023. I play for Belleville Elite Eagles. Well, Belleville Elite used to be the Eagles. And I really don't participate in any other activities as of right now. I'm still looking to do extracurricular activities in school. And basically before all of this, I was really in the gym mostly every day, just trying to get better and work on my craft.
Okay, great. Grace, same question to you then.
My name is Grace Riley. I am a 5'6" point guard in the class of 2021, and I play for Evolution Elite. I also don't do any other sports outside of basketball, so normally I'm just focused on schoolwork, and like Laylah said, I'd be doing AAU ball right now, but with everything going on, that's not possible, so I've just been keeping up with schoolwork and staying as active as possible.
Okay, awesome. And Tyler, I think you may have yourself. Oh, there we go. Tyler, next, same question to you.
Hi, I'm Tyler Butler. I'm a 5'10" small forward. Outside of basketball, I also play volleyball. I now play for Belleville Elite for AAU, and I'm involved in National Honor Society.
Okay. And I'll throw in real quick there for both Tyler and Grace. They're both 2021 players. So now we're going to move back to Laylah, and we're going to start talking now about your skills. Laylah, tell everybody kind of what you see as your strengths, both physically and skill-wise as far as basketball.
I would say my best skills are shooting, driving to the basket, finding my bigs for an open layup while driving. I'm able to see the court and look for people who are open. And I'm really good at creating space for my shot. And I have my arms are really long. So that's how I get most of my steals. And
okay.
Yeah.
One thing Laylah forgot to mention that I will throw out there because I've said it in articles before. So I think I'd be making a mistake if I didn't mention it. The minute she walks into the door in the gym, she's in range. She can score. She can shoot it from really deep. Maybe a little bit deeper sometimes than coach might like, but she can shoot it from deep. Grace, I'll throw it over to you for the same questions.
Okay, so I see my skills as I have good court vision and I'm able to share the ball effectively. I really like to key in on my other teammates, their strengths, so I can get them the ball in situations where they can be successful. And I also see my three-point shot as a strength that I have, but I am working to make that a little bit more consistent. But as a guard, I do focus on just controlling the pace of the game, so recognizing when maybe we're out of control and need to slow things down a little bit more, or if we do need to pick things up. And So just listening to the coach and what she needs and like what she wants from me. So just knowing my role in the game.
Okay. And you talked a lot about your basketball sense and skills there. Is there anything as far as like the physical side, Grace, that you feel like you have that allows you to be successful?
I think I am a little bit quicker. I do have longer arms, so I am able to get some tips and a little bit more blocks than some guards might be able to.
Okay, awesome. And Tyler, I'll turn it to you now for the same questions.
I feel like one of my strengths is adjusting to the defenders, as even though I'm smaller than most of the other posts that I've gone against, I'm good at getting position on them for rebounds or scoring on them. And I feel like this year my endurance has been better because I'm able to play the game longer than other posts that I know that I could run a lot longer.
Okay. One thing, same thing. If folks have read any articles that I've in which I've talked about Tyler, one of the things I continuously talk about is her motor. I think it's obvious when you watch her play. It takes something special when you're 5'10" and you're playing against girls that are 6 foot, 6'1", 6'2", and you're coming down with 10 rebounds a game. You talk a little bit about that, Tyler. Is that something that you I guess first of all, is that my assessment correct? That you do feel like you have that stamina. You talked about stamina, but you feel like you have that motor, and that's kind of what leads you to get a lot of those rebounds and be able to play with those bigger girls.
Yes, I work a lot harder to get the rebounds on them because I constantly have to push them back a lot harder than they probably have to push me, since I'm not as big or as strong as they are.
Yeah. Understandable. I'm sure as coach would tell you, since obviously she played that position and is lucky enough to have more height than you did, sometimes it doesn't matter how tall you are. The facts are the facts. You can be 5'10" and get 5 rebounds a game and say that you have a high motor, but when you're 5'10" and you get 10 rebounds a game, there's just proof. There's no denying what you do. So it's something you should be proud of there. Okay, with that, I'm going to move on to the skills that you guys are working on during the off season. What are you trying to get better at? Again, both physically and basketball skills. And Laylah, we'll jump back to you.
I would say the most important thing that I've been working on is my speed and vertical and my stamina too, because I used to get tired like really fast because I'm not used to playing like the whole game. So most definitely my speed and vertical speed, because I'm not going to grow anymore. So I need to be able to beat players up and down the court, and my vertical too, because like, as I said, I'm not growing. So I need to be able to get rebounds over bigger players.
Okay.
Another thing that I'm working on is my left hand. It's not as strong as my right. So I'm able to go left, but I want it to be as strong as my right hand and me being more comfortable with my left.
Right. Well, and it's interesting that you mentioned that. I hadn't thought about that before, but I know obviously especially with a smaller lineup that you guys will probably play a lot of this year, I'm sure coach is going to want to go up and down as much as possible. So if you're going to be able to stay in the game very long, you better be in good shape. So that's probably a good idea of what you're working on there. So, okay, good. Grace, I'll jump over to you for the same questions there.
Well, like I said before, just improving my consistency in my shot. So just getting some more reps in to be able to knock down that three-point shot a little bit more often. And then also my ball handling control, like under pressure. So in pressing situations, being able to limit my turnovers in that area. And then also getting past my defender a little bit more often to get to the rim, just to be a little bit more versatile rather than just being someone that can shoot and pass. And also, like, defensively, my lateral quickness to be able to keep up with those quicker guards. So, like, when we're playing other teams that have those guards that are quicker, that I'll be able to stay in front of them.
Right. And I think you make a good point there, Grace, because from what I've seen in all the opportunities that I've had to watch you play, I think you do a great job of making passes, when you're out on the wing or up top. But I think you're right. If you can work on that ball handling and your ability to beat a defender with your vision and the way you pass the ball, I think you'll be that much more effective. And Tyler would be more than happy to take those extra layups from you getting in the lane and finding her. So I think that's a good thing to be working on. And I noticed the coach said it too, and obviously you talked about it with your outside shooting. I noticed in some of the games that I watched, I saw some times where I saw the Grace that was having trouble getting anything to go, and then I saw the Grace that would hit 3 or 4 in a row. So like you said, just that consistency of being able to maintain the the proper form and the proper touch every time, so you can be a threat every game. Okay, great. And I will turn it over to you, Tyler, now, just kind of talking about some of the same stuff.
Some things I've been trying to work on is my face-up game, because I found myself playing a lot with my back to the basket. So I feel like switching it up a little would help. And I've also been working on like a 10 to 12-foot shot from the basket, because I was constantly like shooting layups. I didn't shoot at all, I don't think, this year at all. So I've been working on that and different ways to get to the basket. And finally, I would still want to increase my vertical a little bit, because I could always jump higher, especially since I'm already at a disadvantage. Having a better vertical would help.
Yeah, and I agree, because obviously I think if you can consistently knock down that elbow jump shot, I think you're going to be really hard to guard. Right now, I'm sure you see it a lot in a lot of games when you catch the ball at the free throw line or farther out, they're probably a step and a half away from you because they're not respecting that shot. So the more you can make that consistently, obviously will not only help you in your senior year, but obviously make you a more well-rounded player going into college. Coach didn't say anything to me about this. I just did a little quick research before we got started. So I'm unmuting all 3 of you, because I'm going to call all 3 of you out on something real quick that none of the 3 of you mentioned. Do we need to improve our free throw percentage next year, girls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laylah, congratulations in having the highest of the 3 on here, but I don't know if I pat myself on the back too hard for that. So, and not to throw Tyler under the bus, but she goes to the free throw line so much that, if you can improve that, Tyler, obviously you can score an extra 2 or 3 points a game just by hitting free throws. So I got a lot of shaking the heads and a lot of yes, but nobody wants to jump in too much on that, and I don't blame them. But I did, and again, obviously it's not to embarrass anybody. It's just a fact. All 3 of you are good enough shooters to make more, and make a big difference. I'm sure Coach will tell you, and probably has, that just those extra 4 or 5 points a game at the free throw line can end up making a big difference by the end of the game. So. And then from there, we're going to jump into the 4th question that I've thrown out to you guys. I just kind of want for the audience, and really even for me, to get to know you guys a little bit better. And so I want to talk a little bit about your background and your history in the game. Laylah, talk a little bit about how you first got involved in the game and who some of your early influences were, not only, whether it be family, friends, so on and so forth, but also, who are the people that you follow, on a much bigger global stage that you try to learn from and watch and make your game better by paying attention to them?
I started playing basketball when I was in the 2nd grade. I started from my cousin Bryce Dow, who used to play with Belleville East last year. She's in college now. And then I would say I started playing in 2nd grade just for fun, but then I realized how much I loved the game. And then I started to take it serious in like 3rd grade. And after 3rd grade, I started playing for the Y. And then after that, people who have influenced me most are my number 1 supporter, which is my mom, most definitely, because she takes me to every practice. She gets me where I need to be, and like she motivates me to be better because she wants me to do better than she has. And then my coaches, like my 3 coaches, main coaches, are Corey Frazier, and my trainer. He's my trainer too. My coach, Coach John. And then my coach that is no longer here anymore, which is Richard Gray. He passed away last year. And those are my three biggest that have really influenced me to do better and really formed me into the player that I am today.
Okay. Is there any players that you watch that you try to learn from?
Most definitely Stephen Curry, because he has a really deep range like I do. And he's made like a really good impact for the Golden State Warriors and has made history there. So I really watch him. That's my favorite player.
Okay, great. Grace, I will jump it over to you then for the same question.
Well, I've pretty much always enjoyed playing. I remember like when I was younger in elementary, I would always play outside against the boys and stuff. But I started getting more serious in third and fourth grade when I joined the Junior Panthers with Coach Monty Mister. And I played with some of the O'Fallon girls like Amelia Bell and Aubrey Mister for about 5 years. And so Coach Monty was definitely a big influence on me and my mindset in the game and just the development of my skills. And so after the Junior Panthers, I went and played with Midwest All-Stars. And I played with some of the girls that would be going to East and also like Kiaja Gray and Reese Bennett from West. And so then I think like the year after I went to Evolution Elite, which is who I play for now. And I played with a lot of those same girls from Midwest, along with Alana Brooks from Mascuda. So then like once I did get to East and began like playing against all those girls that I had played with before, it was pretty cool, like getting to see how they developed and how they matured as well. But people that have like influenced me was definitely Coach Monty from my Junior Panthers team. And also I remember like in middle school going to watch the older girls play like in 8th grade, like Kayla Rainey and Beyonce Carter. And then just seeing Kayla, how fast she was, and then how athletic Beyonce was, and then getting to East and being able to have them on the same team and have them being leaders and just people that made me feel comfortable on the team coming in.
Okay. Yeah, there's certainly been no shortage of excellent guards at East the last couple of years for you to watch and learn from. So as a point guard, especially, that's been a great situation for you to learn from, no doubt. So okay, great. Then Tyler, I'll turn it over to you for the same question.
I started playing basketball like later. I started playing in 5th grade. I really had no intention of to continue playing because I kind of just did it for fun. But I started taking it more serious in 7th grade, where my parents were like my number one supporters, and my dad was always saying he saw something in me, and I continued to like practice with him in the morning. So that was what kept me to playing basketball. And when I got to high school freshman year, I always looked up to Beyonce. She was nice to me from the beginning, and I always liked her work ethic and how she played all the time.
Okay, great. I'm going to throw a tiny bit of a curve here, and actually, I'm going to stick with Tyler, and then go back to Grace, and then I'll go back to Laylah because they're the older girls. So this question is probably a little bit more applicable to Tyler and Grace at this point. Talk a little bit, Tyler, about I guess I have a perception, but you and I haven't really talked about this before. But talk a little bit about your desire to go on and play in college. Is that something that you really want to do? And is there any ideas that you have as far as whether you'd like to stay close to home, whether you'd like to go far away, or what things you may be looking for in a college as far as whether it's influenced by a specific major study that you're looking for, or just kind of what some of your ideas are about potentially continuing this and where you might like to continue it?
I am looking to play in college. It doesn't really matter the level to me. Academically, I look to go into pharmacy or orthopedic surgery, and I don't mind going away from home a lot. Like, that is not a big deal for me.
Sure, but at least that as far as the pharmacy or those two fields of study, that will certainly have a little bit to do with where you would consider going, so that you can line yourself up with what your future goals are.
Yes, it would.
Okay, great. Grace, how about you?
I am looking to play college basketball as well. Mine definitely depends on my field of study because most of the colleges that have like radiology therapy or just radiology programs in general, most of them are JUCOs. So those are more of the colleges that I have been looking at, but the level doesn't really matter to me either. I am looking more like D3, NAIA, and JUCOs because those are the schools that have the programs that I'm looking for.
Good. And that's actually good, obviously, that the JUCOs are a good option for you because obviously a lot of girls, a lot of players in general don't consider those to be a very good option. But for a lot of people, that's the best option to get started with, just so you can kind of see where you fit after those 2 years. So that's good. Okay. And Laylah, again, I said it's a little bit less applicable to you because obviously you're just coming out of your freshman year. But I would say I would be shocked to hear that you might not want to play college basketball. I'm sure you do. So while you're probably not as far along the line of thinking about some of those things, I'm sure you have some hopes and dreams. So why don't you talk about that a little bit about where you hope to be and what you see as important to you when you get to that point?
I do want to play in college. I actually want to play at a D1 level, but if I have to go like at a lower level, I would still play because like I still love the game. And I actually want to become an orthodontist.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
It seems cool. Like it just seems cool to me. So that's something I'm interested in.
Good. I'm glad you, at your age, you already kind of have an idea. Most people don't, so that's awesome. And as far as the level, I mean, I'll say to you what I would say to anybody else. In the end, it's all about finding the right place for you to play. And if you're good enough to, by that time, to play at a D1 school, great. If a D2 school or NAI or whatever it is a better fit for you because you're going to get on the court, obviously you're not the kind of kid that sat on the bench much in her life, except when she was tired. So, in the end, you keep working and whatever those opportunities are when the time comes, great, So, okay, good. Now that I threw one at you guys that you weren't expecting, I'll go back to the one that you were expecting. Talk a little bit about next year and what we'll go back to you, Laylah, what your goals are for next year, both to yourself and for the team.
My goals for the game is just to become a better player all around and to inspire younger people to work hard and to just do their best and be the best they can be. For this season, I really just want to have a great season I want our team bond to become closer. Like we have a bond, but like I want it to be like really tight where we can trust each other on and off the court. And I just really want to thank my teammates because they really took me in. Like they didn't look at me just like as a freshman. They took me in and they motivated me. And yeah.
Okay, great. Grace, I'll throw it over to you for the same question.
Like Laylah said, I think having a goal of us building our team chemistry together, just so we can work together on the court a little bit more so that because I do have a goal of us ending the season with a winning record this upcoming season. I think that would be a good goal for us to have. So having that team chemistry, I think will really help us work towards that goal.
Okay. And what about you personally? Is there anything that you have for goals set for yourself or where you'd like to see your game this year?
Well, I know that in years past, I have started off a little bit slower in the beginning and then gotten stronger towards the end of the season. So I'm definitely working towards starting off strong and then carrying that throughout the season. And I think that just has to do with like confidence. So I think once I stop overthinking as much, that I'll definitely be able to make that happen.
Okay, great. And Tyler, back to you for the same question.
I'm really excited for the upcoming season. Like they said, I really want to see us with a winning record this year. And I think that's possible because we have a lot of younger talent and they've played up to varsity tempo. So I feel like coming into the season, we'll already be like a head start in front of a lot of other teams. And individually, I would like to be a bigger role model for my teammates as a lot of them already looked up to me this year as a player. And they're very young. So I want them to take the leadership role really early.
Okay. I guess real quick, and I'll ask this of you, Tyler, and then throw it back to Grace a little bit since it was before Laylah's time. I'm sure it was tough this last year, obviously, with all of the talent that was on the team the previous years, and you won an awful lot of games. You guys worked really hard last year, but it had to be a little bit tough for you to grind through that mentally, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of hard at the start, especially since most of us haven't played together a lot. Like, it was a lot of older mixed with younger kids. Like, we was kind of experimenting in the beginning, but I feel like in the end we definitely had a lot of closer games, and we were starting to like gain a bigger bond and have more team chemistry.
Yep. Before I throw it to Grace for her opinions on that, I certainly saw in articles, in discussions, and sometimes just overhearing what she was saying to you. I know that Coach was always proud of the effort just because the results weren't always there. I don't think you guys lacked in effort. It just was one of those things where you had so many talented kids the years before that moved on, and you kind of had to try to meld it together, as Tyler was saying. Grace, just real quick from you, how did that go for you as far as the mental grind of it and the difficulty of kind of starting over a little bit last year?
Yeah, it definitely was different because I think this year was definitely kind of a learning year for us, considering, like Tyler said, a lot of us hadn't really played with each other yet, having us play with like some of the younger girls. So it definitely was different having us all mixed together like that. So I am excited to see how we do next season, having us have experience playing with each other now and having our like learning year kind of out of the way now.
Yep, I agree. Certainly not everybody's returning. There's some good players that graduated in 2020, but unlike the year before, you'll have a lot of talent coming back. So, okay, well, I'm going to open it back up to Coach now and see if she has anything that she wants to add, or maybe she wants to ask some more questions of you guys and see if she can drill you a little bit more too. Coach?
Man, I wish you could have watched me that whole time because I'm just over here cheesing. I'm so proud of these girls. They did a great job, and I love them so much. And, I think that our whole team, I could say the same thing, but these three are really good representation. I'm glad you called them out for their free throws because I had that written down in my notes. Why aren't we talking about that? But I know that they're working for it, and, we worked on it last year. Believe it or not, we worked on it every single practice. And, it just takes extra practice, and I know we'll get better at that. But I think they did a really good job of being honest with, what they're good at, what they want us to keep working on, not being okay with how we were last year, but understanding that it was a really good learning year for everybody. And, it makes us tougher, not only for next year and to have more wins, but, it makes them tougher for life. And I think that they really embraced that. And it's really fun to see how these three in particular have matured, and I'm just so excited to see how this next year will go, and excited hopefully if we can get any kind of summer ball in or any preseason stuff to really work on some of that team chemistry. But we've started doing some online training that's been different for sure, but trying to get them physically and mentally tougher during this time, and just doing the best that we can. And I think a couple of them have really embraced that, and looking forward to even more doing that so that we can improve individually and then as a team. And, just like I said, hopefully have a really good year, and especially for these girls, Tyler and Grace and the rest of them who will be seniors next year, to have them go out with a winning record and just, feeling that like they gave it all for their program and are really successful. But I think these three are really good leaders for us. And, they even mentioned, how cool is it that they mentioned that they want to be good role models and they want to inspire younger kids. I mean, that's for, high school girls to say that, that just shows their maturity. So I'm really proud for them to say that, because those are the kind of girls that we want in our program, that we try to build in our program. So they come from really good families and, a really good basketball program. And, I'm just really proud of them for everything that they said tonight, and I agree with them, and I agree with you too in all your evaluations. So thank you for taking that time with us.
Oh, you're welcome. These girls kind of had a different experience than any of the other interviews that I've done, because in the other interviews, the coaches talked a lot more, and in the other interviews, whether I'd had an opportunity to really talk with you girls before tonight, as we talked about before Grace jumped on, Tyler and Laylah are certainly used to seeing me in the gym at your games. I know Grace is. Grace saw me at the top 250 last year. So unfortunately, or fortunately for these girls, I'm very comfortable telling them what I've seen because I feel comfortable being around them and talking to you two so much. So they got a little bit different experience. So didn't try to call you out too much, but I think it's important when you're in this situation, and we're doing this also to show you guys as players to the college coaches. I'm not going to lie to the college coaches and tell them that you're shooting 80% from the free throw line when you're not. But when you shoot a lot better next year, they're going to realize how much work and effort you put in, and they're going to notice that. So thanks for playing along with me tonight, ladies. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, anybody have anything to add before we end for the evening?
No.
No.
All right. Again, thank you very much, girls. Stay safe, work hard, and hopefully get to see you soon. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Don. Appreciate it.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.